Good afternoon, and welcome to the 7th episode of the Winner's Circle podcast with your host, Samer Bawab. Today, I woke up with an attitude of gratitude, feeling incredibly fortunate to have a very special guest joining me. He's not only a dear friend, but someone I've deeply admired since moving to Lebanon in 2018. From day one, he's been a pillar of support, not only for me and my startup, but for countless entrepreneurs, students, and dreamers striving to build a better future. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and a privilege to introduce you to Mouhamad Rabah, a visionary leader, a legendary entrepreneur, and a driving force behind why so many of us still believe in Lebanon. Mouhamad's path to success is nothing short of inspiring. He earned his bachelor's in civil engineering from American University of Beirut before pursuing a master's at the University of Texas at Austin, specializing in transportation and supply chain management. He then launched into the world of strategic and management consulting, working with CSC, Pete Marwick in Europe, and Booz Allen Hamilton in the Middle East office. There, he supported industry giants, revamping a 20-year growth plan for a top petroleum firm, optimizing global supply chains for a major aircraft manufacturer, and improving logistics for 14 European factories, helping businesses scale, streamline, and innovate. With this momentum and expertise, Mouhamad took a bold leap in 2005, joining what is now Zeal, formerly ZRE, as CEO and partner. He wasted no time in executing his vision in Lebanon's largest residential development, the Platinum Tower, while digitizing the real estate experience and reshaping the industry for the modern era. Then came one of his most groundbreaking achievements, the creation of the Beirut Digital District, or what we know as BDD, a first-of-its-kind innovation hub designed to empower Lebanon's digital and creative community. As CEO of BDD, he has built and maintained a 90% occupancy rate, secured strategic partnerships, and fostered an ecosystem where startups, accelerators, and talent thrive. He has also founded Forward MENA, formerly the BDD Academy, a nonprofit dedicated to equipping people with digital skills to meet the jobs of today and tomorrow. Mouhamad is the man of many hats. His influence extends far beyond Lebanon. He's president of Forward MENA, co-founder of Ray Labs, a prop tech company transforming property management through cutting-edge SaaS solutions, and he sits on the board of NatGaz, as well as the International College here in Beirut, and other regional ventures. His impact is undeniable, his vision is unstoppable, and today we get to deep dive into the mindset, leadership philosophy, and the future he's building for Lebanon and beyond. Mouhamad, thank you again for joining us today. It's a pleasure for you to be here and on my podcast, so let's jump right into it. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Samer.
Sure.
So I believe let me start first by saying a glimpse of what led me to be here today. Start by saying like everyone faces so many decisions during their lifetime.
Sure.
And I believe I would measure the fulfillment and success by asking anyone, are you happy where you are at currently? And if you go back, would you make the same decisions to lead you to where you are at today? And for me, yes. But this has been really a bumpy road. And if I want to start bumpy, but yet also like entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurial, I'm always like something very small that I remember of because we passed through it now in 2019. It's a funny story. So Collège Protestant Français, school times, with friends. I was 16, 17, had the opportunity to work with some friends to prepare the books, the books and the furniture that I sold every year that are prepared for the new generations. It was a good, decent amount of money that's paid. We're selected with 4. And it was the years, I believe, mid-90s, with the dollars oscillating between 1,500, 700 to 3,000, changing.
Wow.
And they would only take in Lebanese pounds, and so many parents would come to the school and not having, and it was a long walk inside the school, and not having any bags to carry furniture, and not having Lebanese pound. And the school would only take Lebanese pounds, so it would come with dollars. So discuss directly with our friends, like 2 or 3. And next day, we were packed with bags, selling every bag, I remember, like for $1 instead of them going out. And then exchanging. We were like sarrafin, so like exchange inside on the side without anyone seeing, like for the parents. And this is a bit like sometimes grabbing an opportunity.
Sure.
I believe
Your
is
first
always
business,
so.
maybe,
First
right?
business, excellent. Where it was able to save for a trip with the so every time. Ultimate is really have fun. Do it, but have fun.
Sure.
So saved first trip with the guys to Europe, came back, applied for university, and I would stress during the different stages of some difficult decision the mentorship.
Yeah.
I believe the best mentor at that time was my late father. My late father passed away.
Sure.
God bless his soul. But also my mother, and I applied to AUB engineering, got accepted into engineering, also LAU, and unfortunately flanked and did not pass the triple E, which is the English test, by one question.
Wow.
So he told me, like, I remember he was passing me the result and telling me 488 on 500. So we don't put any grades between. Wow. It's one question.
That's a tough.
So it was, and then second time did not prepare. Again, the need to prepare. Don't overestimate yourselves. Sat for the second. I said definitely I'm going to do better.
Of course.
471. And at that time you would lose your whole year in engineering.
Yeah.
And I wanted to potentially change, do not go to AUB, or go into another field.
Yeah.
And my mother, like, which I consider like great mentor throughout my life, said no matter what, you go, you do UAP, you lose 1 year. 1 year is not a lot in the whole lifetime that you have. You earned AUB engineering, and at that time you lose your acceptance. You have to apply from zero.
Of course, yeah.
So applied, went, did UOP, enjoyed my time, best year, learned a lot of things.
Your mom was
work
right.
a bit, and then continued in engineering. Fast forward 4 years, graduated from, applied to the US, and graduated with distinction from civil engineering from AUB. And great mentor also at that time, Dr. Isam Aisi, transport, who led me into the transport management. I was between concrete and transport. And I applied for 2 programs in transport, Class A, UT Austin,
Sure.
Okay, in UT University of Texas, Austin, and MIT. And
which were the leading probably schools in that kind
in
of focus.
that were Class A program. There was also Berkeley, but I did not apply to Berkeley.
Understood.
And I applied to Urbana-Champaign because I still had doubt if I go to concrete structures. Was number 1. So I got accepted by the 3 universities, MIT, UT Austin, and Urbana-Champaign. And tough decision. By that time, acceptances, I had decided that I want to go into transport and transport management. And between MIT and UT Austin, both Class A, but MIT is MIT, top schools.
Sure.
And at that time, the chairman that was running the UT Austin program was visiting AUB. My teacher also made an appointment with me.
No kidding.
And
Wow.
he did an interview. He offered me a full scholarship and the possibility to work, and that's why I'm connecting, on a program that is impact, and that was 1999, impact of electronic commerce and virtual supply chain on logistics and transportation management.
Interesting.
So it was the big boom of the tech and how virtual supply chains that we know of today will be impacted and transformed.
Oh, great. So
And that
right
was
in the
created.
cusp. Hey.
So a difficult decision. Everyone asks, how can you drop an MIT acceptance? And what I say, going back to the first, if I go back to make the same decision to be where I am today, I'm very happy. Perhaps that would have opened other horizons.
Could have.
Perhaps I would have stayed in the States. I'm very happy to be here today with you. So I would do the same decisions to be back here.
That's really amazing.
Did you UT Austin's? Finished. Great experience.
And Mouhamad, had you lived in the States before? Had you visited the States?
No.
Wow. So this is a brand new country, brand new everything.
Brand new. Went in the States. Did not book anything. Booked a motel. First time in UT. Alone.
Didn't know what you were going to get into.
Yeah. Slept in the dorms. Found an apartment. But great experience.
Sure,
great experience.
of course.
Great melting pot. I love UT Austin.
Yeah.
UT Austin, like, is a great city. Whoever did not visit must visit it when going to the US.
Sure.
Amazing city.
That's great.
So I had a great time. Wanted to potentially stay in the US. And finished and wanted to apply to jobs. So again, applied in the US. Got an offer from a great Big Four consulting firm in the US.
Which is usually the track you would go to.
Depends. I wanted to go into consulting. There was other also opportunities in optimizations.
Of course.
I didn't know consulting at that time was of affinity to be able to learn a great base. That was that for me. Absolutely. I always consider a great knowledge and base and foundation. And also in top consulting firms. Applied in Europe, CIC Marwick. Marwick was a strategic consulting firm, also great in Europe. And got an opportunity in Lebanon. And why? Because my parents were getting old. And I have one sister who's much older that's traveling, so I wanted to be next to them.
Yeah.
And big debate. Do I go back to the US? Much better offer. I go to Europe. Great more company.
Opportunities.
But money-wise, not the maximum, not compared to the US.
Sure, as far as your full value.
But it's really a great offer, like for Europe. And Lebanon, also great opportunity at that time. It happened to be that we were discussing this a couple of days ago. It was Minister Shadi, who was the advisor to the public transport ministry at that time. And there was a revamp of the port authorities here that recommended me to Minister of Transport Mikati. And they offered me that job. And he was telling me, no, absolutely, I ended up not accepting it, which is something good that I did not do at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I went to Europe, great experience, 5 years, across Europe, worked with the biggest aeronautical firms, and then wanted again to be back closer to my parents after 5 years, with the experience that I've acquired, to come back to Lebanon. Did some small businesses with some friends in Europe, also like the part of the entrepreneur. Successful, some really bad, really bad.
Wow.
Okay, orange pressing, like a company in France, but did not work. But shifted and went back to Lebanon, got an offer from Booz Allen Hamilton, took the offer for the Middle East to be next.
So Booz Allen, and we're talking like this is a McKinsey. These are like the Accentures. I mean, these are the big consulting firms of our area.
Yeah, absolutely. And 1 year of great experience, but then get the opportunity with the Zain family to join them and to join Zeal for real estate and civil engineering, the backbone. Always like something that's interested me.
Absolutely.
Took the opportunities, leap forward. Thankfully, got lucky on the Platinum Tower with the changes in the mindset and business. You need always luck.
Absolutely.
And a great mentor also
country,
like
of course.
So, and executed a beautiful project which is still a landmark today, and a successful, profitable project. And turned it around. It was not, and with the help also with the shareholders, we did really a great job. And then came the opportunity and the thinking of acquiring lands. This no man's land which was left down since 1975, which is in Bashura, ground zero. Started acquiring lands with our chairman and thinking, how can we transform it? And for me, this is the power of Lebanon. And while thinking, you're at the boundaries of Solidarity, you're at point zero of Lebanon center. How can you transform it to make it a vibrant neighborhood? To build our vision, which by the time we acquired land, so already would accommodate 10,000 community members.
I saw that, and there were even churches here before then that had been here before, and the churches are still standing as we...
Yeah, but it was completely ravaged, completely destroyed.
Okay.
No one had stepped foot inside. When we came in,
so it wasn't much of a church anyways.
It was left. It was still a church, completely destroyed. It was not in use. The roof had completely collapsed.
Wow.
Uninhabitable, like left out. And so for me is how to make great concepts for catering for the middle class that Lebanon enjoys, the middle class intellectual youth that Lebanon enjoys. We all know that the cornerstone of Lebanon has always been its youth, and we produce more than we can absorb in this country.
Absolutely.
And that's how I started benchmarking on some transformation that happened internationally, mid-packing districts, at 22 in Barcelona, Silicon Roundabout, UK, and came up with the concept of reviving the Bashura district. The whole concept was 3-4 stars catering for the middle class working in tech, digital, creative, knowledge industries. There was the program of Saudization and Emiratization at that time.
Okay.
How can we benefit? Is by taking all these Lebanese, keeping them in Lebanon, let them produce in Lebanon, and let the sales be in the region, which
Sure.
is the Gulf, which is Europe, US,
Americas
and Americas,
the West,
and
exactly.
even Africa. So that's how it started. Now, the journey hasn't been the easiest in Lebanon, I can tell you that.
Sure.
However, the energy
Yeah.
that we see on day-to-day basis, coming out of the youth, working at BDD, from this potential that we have in this country,
Yeah.
is simply amazing, that kept us moving forward.
That's really inspiring, Mohammed. And that's interesting because would you say that your focus on creating a brighter future for the youth of Lebanon and this kind of like ecosystem, would you say a lot of that maybe was from your own earlier experience of like, I had this great opportunity, you had left a mark, and is that something maybe you wanted to kind of transcend and give back, or was there more than that?
So I believe where it intersects, from day one, I'm a firm believer that salvation comes through education. And my intersection with technology and the impact of technologies in the 90s in the US, seeing the US being at a leapfrog compared to Lebanon, it became like the sector that I always want to look at and potentially invest into and deal with. So it was an intersection of real estate, okay, and technology.
Sure.
And for me, this was one of the most important impact that technology had on real estate, because you cannot build any more spaces. That's what we do. We build communities. So from day one, when we launched Deal, for us, it's not about building spaces.
Yeah.
And we always introduce it, Deal, building communities.
Sure.
Because in every project that we do, we want to target a specific community, understand what are the needs of this community, and best service the community, which all boils down to the best customer experience.
Absolutely.
And this is what we're doing at BDD. And what better community and what more striving community with the biggest growth other than the tech sector and the digital sector and the creative sector that Lebanon enjoys. So that's the intersection that led me to launching this.
Unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely. Makes perfect sense now. And, going back to that word you mentioned, community.
Yeah.
What does community mean to you? I know a lot of people have different versions of, hey, we're building a community, BDD is a community. Define what community is in your eyes, Mohammed.
So for me, community is like-minded people that work together, collaborate with each other, that feel close to each other, and like to share ideas, help each other grow, and by thus helping the ecosystem all around them grow and flourish.
Absolutely.
And for us,
together,
by helping our communities grow, okay, they will grow within BDD, and they will help us achieve our vision of reaching the 10,000 community members. Vision is not about the spaces, just building. It's about growing and seeing the demand from more community members, like-minded community members, that when you are roaming across BDD, you feel that it's nice to talk to learn from, to be mentored by, to learn from their experiences. That's why this is the most important aspect that we nurtured from day one at BDD. And this is only done by attracting the right kind of people, like-minded people, the right ecosystem partners. And from day one, we work on collaboration, not competition. We attracted most incubators, accelerators, VCs to be at BDD so that we do not compete with them, but we would want just to be a platform, which is the ecosystem where all of them flourish with the community members. So for me, this is the true spirit of a community.
Unbelievable. And I agree because, I felt that too when I came in 2018, Mohammed. And it was a much different time than obviously where we now, right? I mean, we had Speed, we had Flat Six Labs, Lebanon office, we had, a lot of, as you mentioned, these accelerators and these programs. And to me, I would drive by and I never knew Lebanon. I never really spent much time in Beirut growing up. And when my dad passed away and I came here and moved here, I drove by and I said, man, I want to work here. I don't know what they're doing there, but it's up to something. So, and going back to that and this idea and this vision, Mohammed, and this 10,000, goal that you have, you faced a lot of challenges. And I felt like even you can't do this as one person. So, like, how are you able to kind of convince, and maybe it's through the networking and the relationships you built, but what was really kind of that big factor that was able to kind of I mean, I'm sure, you put a lot of great effort, but I mean, a lot of people, they can't do this alone. And I'd like to understand, like, how are you able to kind of, I mean, I would, if you would have told me that, I think you're crazy. I mean, crazy.
So many people thought we're crazy. We're investing this amount into this area. At the end of the day, although at the intersection of north, south, east, and west, which is point zero of Lebanon.
Sure.
But many say it, that we're just nearby Khand al-Hami, or at the boundaries of Khand al-Hami, and many would say we're crazy. We're proud that we're next to Khand al-Hami. We're proud to have made this impact in Khand al-Hami. We're proud that we hired indirectly from the area, and we provided a hope for a better future for the kids of this area. And by doing that from day one, by embracing the area, by helping provide a hope for a better future and showing the vision, and especially by supporting on education. There is a Bashura public school, so we support many families for educating their kids, which is the most essential thing that any country should provide to all their citizens.
Absolutely.
And in an area that has been left out since 1975, where government neglected, where everyone would have to try to find any way to be able to survive, even during war times. You cannot blame them. It is the lack of attention and support that created this. And this is not only in BDD, you see it in many countries around the world. So, and how do you solve? By education. And from shareholders' perspective, it's this vision. So we started, and I started by showing and designing with architects, how do I see it? Where is the potential?
Okay. So sharing it and pushing your vision onto them.
Absolutely. Showing what we can develop. Studies about the potential of Lebanon in the tech sector, and companies that work in the tech sector, in the digital sector, in the creative. The numbers of graduating, what we want to do.
So really, however, it's a huge data collection. I mean, this was enormous.
So that was the feasibility. That's very important. So assessing, knowing your target audience, how big it is, showing the master plan, having the vision, sharing the vision, where we can reach to, what we can achieve.
And believing it.
And presenting it at that time when it was launched to the Ministry of Telecom. And then that we wanted to create digital district. For us, it was reviving Bashura districts, and we presented this master plan and this vision. We wanted to call digital districts. So this is at the core of what we're doing. That's Beirut Digital District. It was at the time with Minister Sahnawi, and our advisor, Karim Kubaisi, who was his advisor, told me, please show it to him. We showed it to him, and we signed an MOU to launch it. And we had this first phases to build 40,000 square meters, which we are at now. But most importantly, I presented, we do it step by step.
A phased approach.
A phased approach. So the vision was divided into 5 phases. 20 years vision, 5 phases. And even within that, within each phase, we started refurbishing one building after the other. So we started with 2 buildings. As soon as we reach 50%, we would go into the next building.
I see. So you're able to get that buy-in by not taking
so we have the vision
first.
I will tell you, I will show you the vision, I will attract, and this is where we're going. But at the same time, I would develop as we were attracting more demand. And as we were forging strategic partnerships. And we started working through type of mall where key partners are like anchor tenants that we wanted here to build the ecosystem, even if they were subsidized. But for us, the subsidy in phase 1 of the project would be offset by phase 2 and phase 3 and phase 4.
Okay.
Because
so
we have the land.
Other.
And that's the business return. To upgrade the whole value of the real estate to be able, at the long term, with a great community, is what we wanted also to achieve. And then to bring in potential investors at the longer term.
So it's the proof, You're showing them proof. Listen, this is what we see. If I can build this, look how much, this is what we can do next, right?
Absolutely. So fill it and then start the other one. But don't start. So that's also something that always needs to be taken into account. So listen to the demand, assess the market, and potentially start with a pilot and grow it as soon as you're seeing. Test it, learn from it, onboard stakeholders, onboard some key strategic clients, even if you need to give it sometimes for free to subsidize to get the name.
Give it away, just to get them to buy in.
At sometimes because these are great partnerships that you're forging. But then you have to be able to start capitalizing on the investment that you made.
That's amazing, really, Mohammed. Thank you for sharing that. And going back to, like you said, those relationships, that like ecosystem of folks that are key, and not just any investor, right? So these are, I mean, it sounds like, with the feasibility study and the vision, they really had to align and match with what you wanted, because everybody, let's say, they could give you money, but what exactly, like for them, it's, I think there's more to that. And going back to that, it's like, what would you say is like key when you're talking to these folks? And maybe there's startups out there raising funds, or someone's building something similar. What's a great success that you've had? I know like that phased approach, I think is brilliant, and kind of creating that foundation. But what would you say was kind of the key to like really getting these guys to kind of push forward?
Initial pre-2019 was different than post-2019. So pre-2019, it was very challenging to start with the neighborhood. No one had stepped foot inside.
Or had done business there.
And done business in the area. And when we were launching, everyone was saying, "You are crazy." And I believe it's exactly selling the vision.
Yeah.
And working hard and nailing and selling to multiple potential customers.
Sure.
To be able, not to focus on one, to be able to nail the first one, and then identifying who are the potential names that you want to try to sign into your vision, to get them the deal they cannot refuse, is key. And we got a couple of names at the beginning that were tremendous, one of which is, when we started and we launched, is Beritech.
Yes.
They stayed with us since the beginning, 2013.
Yeah.
And I remember, and Maroon Shammas, the chairman, speaks about it. He came to a visit and was his first building at night, rats around. He was afraid that he's going to be
as raw as it gets.
He's going to be mobbed. His car, if he's going to go down, he's going to see it. I was telling him, this is going to be like this is going to be like this is what we're going to do here. And he was thinking that you're crazy, like especially crazy. Yet he bought in, and we gave great support from day one, because for us, they've been there, great incubator, accelerator, to be able to grow.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we saw them decide to move back, to scale down, because they faced some issues in the management of this site in the last period. And after the war,
which could have been out of your control.
They lost many of their clients, and then they decided to downsize. It happens. I'm sure we'll still collaborate and grow together. And but at the time, it was a great move. And with that, also some key companies, ZTE, ClearTag, who also came here from Azariye, pursuing these names one time, second time, third time, and making sure to offer something that they wouldn't refuse is what we worked on. And then even Wamda, Habib Haddad at the time, they were away, but they had a great, you should remember what was the program that they do for entrepreneurs. So first step, Habib, you need to do it here. Habib, I need to meet Habib.
This is the place to be. You have to meet it now.
You would do it elsewhere.
Urgency.
Next time, come see BDD, come see. So it started. They did one event here, great success.
Yeah.
Then their office is here. So again, getting these names was essential. Of course, 331 also helped a lot with the incubators, accelerators.
Of course,
But then we grew to almost 1,500 community members until 2019. And one of the main things that the Ministry of Telecommunication wanted to provide us at that time in 2013, end of 2012, is fiber optics. From day one, I asked for digital highways, not physical
Which
highways.
at the time, I think was the most advanced type of internet access you could basically get in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they promised they will. It was connected. We signed in September 2012. Connected.
Wow. So you're kind of the early adopters of this.
Connected in February or March 2013. Connected. Not activated until end of 2017.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. So we're just sitting in the ground.
So it was sitting, connected, but not activated. The key was not turned on. And despite that, by that time, we're a community of 1,200
No
members.
kidding, without the fiber.
Without the fiber, with internet, but
Hey.
with great service.
But managing and moving.
With great service.
Hey.
What are the two things that we gave? Is one, for all the companies, support on the talent, try to recruit the best talent, and being in such an ecosystem and such a community is a great plus for all companies, for all VCs, at the center of innovation. And the second is hassle-free environment. And you know, you have a lot of hassle
Sure.
in Lebanon.
Yes.
So focus on your core business.
Yeah.
Come here, and we take care of the rest.
Sure.
And what that made a difference. And the level of service that we provided helped us great in the word of mouth. So as soon as you sell your key tenants, make sure you live up to your expectations and you exceed your expectations.
Sure.
Because they start spreading the rumor about how good you are. And it's not a rumor, it's a reality. And this is what helped us grow. And this is what helped us especially in 2019. Because 2019 we were 1,500 community members, almost 17,000, 10 buildings, 17,500 square meters, full occupancy, more than 95%
Absolutely. I was
occupancy.
here. I remember everything.
Crisis, revolution, financial crisis, stoppage of 331, COVID, February,
Collapse.
working from home, everyone, companies started leaving, and then the tragic blast of 2020. The 10 buildings were shuttered.
Yeah.
One of the most difficult times that we passed through. All of this, how did we overcome it? Again, I need to, because here I remember on 2020, I was really blessed with a great team.
Hey.
From day one, with a great team that embraced the leadership, the vision.
They're the
That-
backbone.
And the vision of seeing, and the energy of seeing, helping youth, startups, founders grow, successful companies. Anyone who would believe in Lebanon, believe in BDD. It was a center, everyone saw it as an oasis of hope. As
And
an
there weren't
oasis.
really any other places.
And
Mohammed.
what we say, if you do it in Lebanon, in Beirut, in Khanda al-Hami, then you can turn the whole of Lebanon. Because we did it in one of the most difficult parts. And this is the potential of Lebanon. So the team was always a firm believer. And August 2020, they worked day in, day out, mornings and nights, to bring back 95% of the community inside their offices within 1 week, despite everything being shuttered. And we grew. We attracted with that type of service, with some also, again, great services and reputation. We pivoted because many of the startups, incubators, accelerators had to close because of the financial crisis,
Sure.
because stoppage of 331.
Their money was in the bank or whatever the situation, everything.
We dropped from 95% occupancy, and we were building phase 2 to double in size, to reach 37,500 square meters. So we dropped on the phase 1 from 1,500 to 900 at 60% occupancy.
And started building what we see now as Block A and Block B.
And
buildings.
block, exactly, phase 2. And we were in the midst of that during the crisis.
Sure.
So we continued the building because we had committed to some tenants to be there. We had sold one office, thankfully not more, but we had to deliver.
And go above and beyond, as you said, always.
Absolutely. And we were able to attract and take benefit. That's where we pivoted. We said, not only the focus startups, but let's focus on the core idea, the initial idea back, which is outsourcing. We believe, go back to look at the outsourcing, especially after COVID, acceptance of remote work, and the crisis where salaries for talent went down.
Absolutely.
A bit. So it was more affordable to hire. It became a great opportunity for many companies in the private sector to hire in Lebanon, to establish in Lebanon, and they wanted an area where they can have a hassle-free environment. One of which is CMA CAGM. Another great tenant that we worked for 2-3 years to get them is CME Offshore and Siren. Great, they hired 300 engineers. And all of that, why? Because we were able to provide hassle-free environment, despite in some cases some hospitals were saying, we have only 24 hours of diesel.
Yeah.
We were operational 24/7 because we had a great team who planned for the worst case scenario. And this is something that anyone, startups, should always plan. Plan for your worst case scenario and hope for the better. Plan for the worst and hope for the better. And this is something that we did in multiple occasions. This helped us grow to 4,000 community members today,
Sure.
160 companies, and we were at almost 100% occupancy before the war. The war, we were impacted,
Yes.
fortunately.
Of course.
Many left, many companies left that had back office, but we're seeing a great demand, and we're very optimistic for the period. And we increase our prices because we're optimistic. But still, we're very competitive.
Sure, but
So-
being bold and,
Yeah, we're
and
being
sticking
bullish.
to your guns and
Absolutely.
sticking to your vision at the end of the day. I mean, this was all part of the plan, and it sounds like it goes further than that, right? I mean, we have another, phase, right? We have what does that next phase look like? And
So hopefully now we're starting the design of phase C, which
Okay.
is like for the first time we're going to go into hopefully a mixed use, because the plan is not only for offices,
sure.
but our vision is to offer a work, live, and play environment.
So
Today,
more of the community could be involved, or more people in Lebanon specifically could use the space.
Absolutely, and we want to introduce residential. Like now we introduced at BDD, not us, but we attracted Montessori school that opened also a nursery for us, for all the working moms. But we want hopefully to have the first families grow from BDD, and that's why we'll be offering small furnished apartments for the people working here and for the people visiting BDD from abroad. 3-4 star hotels, because it's something missing. Strategic, but 3-4 star hotels are missing. And from that, also, we have potentially residential apartments for use for the Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha now, eventually.
That's amazing, really, and truly inspiring. I mean, for you guys, I mean, the fact that even living here for now, I think 5 years now, 5-6 years. I mean, everyone I talk to, we talk. I want to go to BDD. I want to work there. What's going on there, right? And again, you've kind of created this. This is the central hub of the heart of Beirut, and you've been able to inspire the youth. You've been able. I mean, let's look switching over to that education component. My dad always told me, Mouhamad, knowledge is power. And the fact that Forward MENA and with 42 Beirut and their tech development school there and all the different programs, this Namen Skills is the online portal that offers Amazon and even these are like very legitimate certificates that can be used, and then they can work anywhere in the world. I mean, these are world-class certificates and programs and courses, and then I guess that education seems to be still at the heart of your passion here.
So that's not only passion, but it's the most important field where I like to give back.
Yeah.
Because impacting youth by providing them better learning opportunities so that we could hopefully provide them with better earnings and better future is something that is very dear personally to me. That's where I always
This is
try
the
to
why
go.
for you.
This is the why. This is the future. This is my give back. If I can give back, this is where I like to give back.
Kind of your legacy, your mark on this planet, and for generations.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, Forward MENA, bridging the gap between academia and business, focus on tech, digital, and soft skills, launching it as BDD Academy to attract the best talents, to equip them with the right tech, digital skills for the jobs of the future, for jobs of today and the future, is something that takes a lot of my time, but I'm happy about it, with no return.
That's great.
And it's growing, because it's great impact. So the World Bank identified us as the first private partner to work with in 2021. We're very proud of this. For the first time, they were piloting in the world, and and we were the first partner, private sector, because usually they work with government, and they're still continuing. We still have a strong collaboration and partnership with them. It's also expanded to
preserving that relationship
UNICEF,
and having them support you.
It's expanded to UNICEF, main partner, along with others today, Life, US, LabNet, and now Nami Skills. Our aim is not only offer it as a platform to skill, upskill, and reskill youth in Lebanon, but we're saying how can we expand it, and we're in discussion to
And
potentially
replicate it, scale it.
replicate it in an African country, potentially for some African, in the MENA region, because Forward MENA is for the MENA region.
exactly.
So it's not only about BDD. Forward MENA grew to Lebanon to support all the private sector. We were always about what are the demands of the private sector. How can we help them employ the best youth? What are the jobs that are needed and the trends that are needed? And BDD, with the success stories, we're now looking how can we replicate the success stories. Potentially in other regions in Lebanon, why not Tripoli at certain times?
Sure.
We looked at it, great potential. Again, I say the whole of Lebanon needs to be transformed into an outsourcing hub and a great pilot for great startups that would pilot here, expand sales in the region or the world, but hire always at the back office and productions Lebanese in Lebanon so that they can grow with their families, have their kids,
Still be
and
with
hopefully many of them live at BDD.
Inshallah, inshallah. That's really amazing. And Mohammed, I love that because, you know, it's not just Beirut, Chani. Lebanon is Tripoli. It's all areas. And, you know, we have to lift up and support every one of those regions. And again, even in the MENA as well. But I really love that because, you know, for us to be strong, we have to be strong together. And this, to me, is what I'm hearing and resonating from this comment and from this talk, really. It's
We're too small of a country and a market to compete.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
need to collaborate, help the whole of Lebanon flourish. It's music to my ears.
Yeah.
Like, you know, ClearTag was one of my anchor tenants with the NY Digital. They decided then to do Antwerp. So I started a journey.
Yeah, and Hamma,
You know,
absolutely.
they went and they
Spears.
moved to Antwerp and they created Antwerp.
Hey.
Some think it's competition. For me, it was music to my ears. The more you have such models, the more you can grow in Lebanon, the more we will benefit. But we need to have this mindset of collaboration and not competition. And I believe in each area of Lebanon, in each government of Lebanon, you should create a tech digital cluster. There's difference. And in smaller villages, co-working spaces that you can increase this creation and help them with the infrastructure bundled to become a great image for Lebanon, brand Lebanon as the digital Lebanon, as the technological Lebanon, where you get great talent with great added value. And we're born to solve problems.
Sure.
Because every day since we were born, we are faced with problems.
Absolutely.
So we're born to see how can we problem solve, how can we pivot, how can we,
Yeah.
and to find solutions.
Absolutely.
And this is very important.
Very important. And I totally agree, Mohammed, because I think it's like a lot of folks, I mean, but I think, yes, we're born with it or to have this problem solving, but to also have a path.
Yeah.
And you know, we look at these Googles and we look at these companies, but how do we connect that, right? Because I want to go work for the best tech company in the world, but I don't know where to start. And I think a lot of what you've built here is like, this is how we can make this more realistic by, again, that mentorship, that these programs and these skills, these certificates, this exposure that you're giving to these, I mean, kids, man. I mean, even the young adults and older adults I'm seeing around campus that are coming back, and really, it's truly inspiring, Mohammed. And for you, I guess, what would you, would you do anything differently, or is this kind of definitely the path you'd have taken? I mean, would you have changed anything, or?
So on BDD, frankly, today, no. I would do exactly the same.
Wow.
Very happy again where we are. Definitely, I would have loved if we had grown even further.
Yeah,
But the economic situation did not allow us.
of course.
And I hope the
External
country,
circumstances.
external circumstances,
Sure, out of your control.
yes, are out of our control. And even, I would say, unfortunately, I would have to say that, but we have, and I'm very optimistic and cautiously optimistic because about the new government that is filled with great talent.
Sure.
And I hope they can lead Lebanon on growth. And they can benchmark to transformation that happened in Cyprus and Ireland, so that we go in the same way of supporting the private sector with tax subsidies instead of seeing how can we tax the private sector
And
to
make
be
more.
able to finance an overblown in size public sector. And that's something major that they need to be careful about.
Absolutely.
And then If they do that, we'll be much faster. So one thing at a certain point, I said, and perhaps until today, until I see this is optimistic, hopefully they will do the right decisions, that we invested a lot in Lebanon. Like perhaps we should have invested a bit less in acquiring lands because of that, because we're attached to that and the political things that especially the last war and from 2019 till today, it's great. Yeah. We're very optimistic today and we're hopeful because after like 20 years, hopefully we'll go back to the reforms, to the right, to what Lebanon deserves, and that's what's BDD. And then I will see it thriving. Today I'm behind my original plan of where I wanted to be because of the political situation and because how this country was run. It's not because lack of opportunities, because of missing opportunities and killing opportunities, I would say. And that's something bad. The management is bad. Huge difference. Yeah. We have lots of opportunities. We were managing in such a bad way that we crushed the private sector. Yeah. And that's not good.
Absolutely. No, this is like a perfect way, I think, to kind of like wrap up our session. And for us, it's, again, we need government because, and we need this political sphere to support and to go in that right direction because, I mean, this is the only way for us to work together hand in hand with the private and the public and these, I guess we need to put these youth before our own, I guess, endeavors and our own, I guess, not like, I'm trying to find the right word.
No, I'll tell you what, frankly, for all the politicians and everyone, we need to stop the, how do we say it? The right word. You were not finding it. I'm not finding it. We're trying to be politically correct. I know like that you have it.
It's not like the ego, Yanni. It's like this kind of my fortune.
I would say we need to stop the betting, like not enriching in youth the small religious, sectarian thoughts to be able to control and say rather, I want to give them a better future for any Lebanese. To be able to grow, and
regardless of where they come.
I've had enough. Right. And after 30 years, if something greed is the worst thing that anyone can have on this earth. For me, it's one of the worst types of qualities. It's not quality; it's a sin that one can have. And I believe just saying it's enough. Enough is enough. And let's just think about the youth and the future of these youth and giving them a better future by giving them the best education, they will be able to excel. And that's what we're trying to do here at BDD.
Amen. And that's really such a brilliant mission. And, Mouhamad, I like to close every episode with kind of, if you could just share with us, like, maybe there's someone out there right now listening or watching, and they're struggling maybe, or they're stuck. And they're maybe in kind of a place where you were earlier in your career and you didn't really have that. What would you tell them to maybe like get them to that next level and push them? And that would be something, such a great way to end the session.
Yeah, for me, work hard. Don't stop. Like, even if you fail one time, second time, third times, continue. It will work out. You will reap the benefit. That's one. Don't change yourselves. Don't change your values. Stick to good values, and you will reap it out. Don't take the easy way. It might pay quickly, but there's nothing that is not known, and that's your reputation. So I believe these are the two things. So keep your values, maintain your reputation, and work hard, and you will make it.
Amazing. Great. Thank you so much for your time, Mouhamad. Thank you all for listening today. It's been a great session. Thank you again, Mouhamad.